And welcome back to Bute Road once again. Thank you very much for joining me as we continue finishing off the back seam painting. Now when I say finishing off, I mean in one area. There's still quite a bit around behind me to do all down one side, but we're just concentrating on one end just for this particular video now. As I said at the end of the previous video, the hillside at the back, I felt once I looked at it again it's a little bit too busy. I'm going to show you how I just tidy that up a little bit, take out a couple of the fields and hedgerows, and then we're going to do some close-up trees at the top of the roadway that leads down into the village behind where the cottage will go. So we're going to do that today in this video, and let's see how it goes. Hope you'll enjoy it, and I'll see you at the end. I've got a couple of areas over here that I'm also thinking maybe look a little bit busy, probably too busy, so I'm now going to take some of that out. A lot of this back seam painting is trial and error, and you think, looking from a distance, you think, yeah, that looks quite good, and then you think, well, hang on a minute, it is a little bit too busy, more busy than I would really like. So I'm just going to get my other brush again now and take some of that out. Taking it out is easy. Try and leave the camera there so you can see it. I know this is wasting a lot of video in time, but I think it's important that people can see how you can change mistakes, for want of a better expression. So I'm picking up some green and some white, and I'm going to just take out some of that there. Taking that field out, and then I'll add a little bit more of the green on there. Be careful, I'm leaning on a signal here. Whoops, that's a little bit too strong. Again, we just want to come down a little bit on the colour. Want it green, but we don't want it that green. And we'll come out and we'll take out that bit there. Come down into there, but that won't hurt. We can overcome that. We just reshape that. And there we go. So we redo that, give that field some shape there, and then again right at the very top there, that looks ever so busy. So we'll just take out that top field there, and we'll put in, we'll blend that in there, and we'll bring that down into that piece of woodland there, and then we'll take out that one there as well, I think. Let's just take out that. A little bit more green on that one because we are getting closer. We are getting closer. So we'll put a greenish field in there, like that. And that looks a lot better. I'm happier with that now. That looks more like it, more like although that one there looks a bit busy. Let's just take a bit of that out. I'm going to add some yellow ochre to the mix now for that one, and just I'll bring that down a little bit more white in with the yellow ochre there. And we'll bring that field down there. So there we go. So that field is now, we'll make that quite a big field there. We'll make that quite a big field. Why? Because we can. Because we can. So we've brought that field in down there, and that looks less busy now. So again now, I'm going to use the big brush this time, and I'll show you how to do the trees and hedges, etc. with the big brush when you've got a bigger area like that. And it's ever so easy. Again, I'm just getting, you can see it on here, I'm French ultramarine and a little bit of the green. I can add a little tiny bit of the, much too much brown, never mind. We'll a little bit more green in there, and I'll put a bit of white, yellow in there, put a bit of yellow just to brighten that up. So there we go, so we've done that. We've got a bit of a mix there now, and then I'm getting the brush, so I've got a little bit of a chisel edge on the brush, and then we can just go along, and I'm literally just dabbing on what would be the field line. And there, this brush is not actually that sharp, it should be. Being a Winsor & Newton brush, these are normally very good. For my art, I either use Winsor & Newton or Daler Rowney brushes to get a nice chisel edge effect, and that's better now. It's sharpened itself right up, so that's better. So I can just put in a hedgerow down there, and we'll bring that one down over here, and then we'll use the edge of it, just the corner of the brush now I'm using, just put in some trees on there, do that down there. Don't want to be too fussy with that. I'm picking up a little bit now of the ultramarine, and again, like we did with the woodlands at the top, I'm just adding a bit of the ultramarine in there, and then I'll do the same again with the yellow. Just put a little bit of yellow on the brush. I'll go top edge of that with the yellow, and take that field over there a bit more, like so. There we go. And then I'm just going to bring that field, smooth that field down, so I'm just washing the brush off. In the bottom of my wash pot, I've got like a little piece of mesh, for want of a better expression. This is a clean wet brush I'm using now, and the mesh is just used for just basically washing the brush off. There we go, look at that. There we go, does that look better? Yeah. Sorry, I walked away with the camera then. Camera in my hand, and walked away to have a look at it from a distance. So yeah, and we've got a little bit of colour in there now. That looks less busy. I'm coming over this corner now, and I thought, well, I'd better put the camera back on and show you this. Where I'm coming up here, I'm going to have a lot of foliage in the foreground, so I want the foliage to be disappearing into bushes and trees and that sort of thing. So I'm doing this with the 3/4 brush, as you can see, and again just dabbing on and just forming what would be bushes and shrubs and that sort of thing. So we're just doing this at the moment, just dabbing on some dark colour, French ultramarine and the hooker's green, just together. A lot of colour in there, doesn't matter what that looks like. I've got a nice hillside at the back there that I don't want to lose, so I'm doing that just in there, and then we'll put in a bank of yellow going up across there. Again, now I'm just picking up the green and the blue and just blending that in. Could do it with a dry brush, but there we go. So that's yeah, so that'll do now for that bit of hillside there, and we've got a nice effect on that. So looking through, you can see the distant hills, and once there's hedgerows along the bottom here, once this is all green and hedged, that will just look 3D and will look quite good. So I'm pleased with that. That's come out quite well. I'm going to do the same over the other side in a moment. That's the fields done there. Now to add a woodland, I'm picking up the French ultramarine blue and the green. So I'm putting a little bit of both in there, mixing a bit together on there. And one thing to remember when you're doing trees is to leave room for the little birds. I'm moving the camera just down there so I can get to where I need to be. And stand on my stool. Right, so trees. We'll have some coming around there as well. As I say, leave holes there for the birds to fly in, because they're going to want to get to their nests. So try and vary it a little bit. Try not to do it all in one colour. Try not to get them all the same height. And I'm just adding a little bit of the yellow ochre now to the mix, and let's give them don't worry if it looks a mess. Don't worry if it looks a mess. It also needs to be thinner at the top. I went a bit thick there at the top. So it needs to be thinner at the top. This talking to camera lot whilst you're actually trying to do something is it's quite difficult at times. It has its advantages, because I normally talk to myself anyway, so it makes no real difference in that respect, but trying to think of things to say to make it interesting, but also keep it fairly mundane, not too much of one or the other. I'm coming down now into more of a hedgerow rather than trees. I don't want to lose too much of what I've got behind here. Again, as I say, there's going to be a hedgerow along the bottom here, but we'll see. There'll be some changes in just a moment, quite dramatic changes in a moment or two, and you'll see what they are. I'm coming right down now to where the road junction is going to be, and I'm just putting in a couple of bigger bushes there, because I want to be able to hide the road junction in a minute as well. And that's also throwing these hills at the back, further back. And then this field that's coming down here will lose a little bit of that when we put the roadway in, and maybe some hedgerows there as well. But let's carry on with this and show you what we're going to do, because the next job we're going to do is to actually put in the tree trunks. There's many ways of doing the tree trunks. You can sit there all day and you can paint in millions of tree trunks, or you can get your fingernail and you can do that. Some people use a credit card. The bigger trees come out quite well, as people would have seen on some of my other paintings and back scene bits and pieces. So once you're doing it over where the darks were, it doesn't show, because you're not going through to a white or a light background. So once you've done that, you need to be able to hide that a little bit. So again, then you just go along the bottom edge, and you just fill in along there a little bit like so, and then dab over them as well, because you don't want to see them all the way up through. There's nothing worse than seeing the tree trunks right the way through. So I'm picking up the yellow again now, and this yellow is now going to add a bit of sparkle to it. And then in a moment we'll go along the bottom and we'll just redo that bottom edge so that That shows through again. Give it a little bit of a wipe and then go along the bottom and just tidy up that bottom edge. It's easier like this when the acrylic's still a bit wet. Pick up a little bit of paint there, and again. So once the hedgerow's in front of that, we'll have quite a good 3D effect, and that should look quite good. Okay, so let's have a look and see where we are. So basically it's only this end that I've done at the moment, so let's go in and have a closer look. We're going to get there'll be a hedgerow coming down the end of this field here. I might put some trees just at the top of there, I'll fill that in a bit more later on, and then there'll be hedgerow coming down and along here. So we've got that woodland there, and beyond you've got the distant hills that are just about showing through. The colours are about right. The field here, I lightened that up by adding some yellow so that it looks like the sun's shining on that field, and you can see at the back where I've merged some of the fields, tidied them up, and such as on here you've now got different colours within the fields so that it doesn't look like just one plain block of colour. The woodland at the back is done, and where the road goes up we've got the hedgerow there on the field, and then as I say there will be another hedgerow in front, so you can imagine that's a green. You'll be looking beyond the hedgerow on the foreground road to the hedgerow behind in the field and the woods, and the same effect of course up at the top. You'll be looking beyond the hedges to a field with a little copse in behind there as well, and you can see in the trees there we've got some nice colours in the trees, not all one colour, and a bit of variation. We've got a shadow coming down from the lighting, casting a shadow across the road, and again once the hedgerows around the other side that'll look good. And I've put some trees at the end of the cottage there so that it looks like the roadway goes on beyond the cottage, and then there'll probably be a grass embankment or a bit of a wall and a grass embankment there, and that will be hidden when this pub comes back down there. So that's the end of the backscene painting demo. But thank you very much for watching these videos. I hope they've been of some use to you, and we'll see you again in the next video when hopefully I'll be doing maybe a bit more to the harbour. I've built a little bridge. I don't know whether you remember in the first video I caught my camera on the strap of my camera on the edge of the bridge, so I built a little bridge now to go over the bridge to protect the railings. So there we go. So we'll do a bit more to that, and then of course there'll be tractor paint, ballast to lay, more buildings to go in, and an awful lot more to do yet. But thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you soon. Bye now.